Final Fantasy VII Remake is more just a reimagining. It's a carefully woven mystery full of hidden messages, foreshadowing, and deep lore. Today we're diving into Chapter 7. A trap is sprung, breaking down its hidden meanings and uncovering how it connects to the biggest twists in the game. Was Shinra really in control? Or was this another move by fate itself? Let's break it down. Welcome to SimoRPG channel. And today, soldiers, we will analyze, uncover, and have other things see on Sector 7. This case in Chapter 7 of Final Fantasy VII Remake, Chapter 5 Reactor. From the moment Avalanche steps into Mako Reactor 5, something feels off, different. Unlike in the original game, Shinra isn't caught off guard. They are waiting for Cloud and the others. But here's the real question. Was this just Shinra's doing, or was fate itself ensuring that this event happened? Well, we can't know for sure, 100%, but it's actually, or most probably, a predetermined setup. Shinra openly mocks Avalanche, calling them pawns in his game. But isn't that exactly what the Whispers do later in the game? They manipulate events to ensure things unfold as they were meant to. But did Shinra really outmaneuver Avalanche, or were they just acting in line with Destiny plan? And what is this all about? Claude being, having this flashbacks from Tifa grabbing Sephiroth's sword. Does this mean Sephiroth is also behind this? Behind the several flashbacks that he has? Well, we don't know that, right? But it could be him, the fate, or even, as we dwell into its last episode, Shinra itself has full control of fate. Is that it? Could this mean that Shinra is now the leading on all of these plots on Final Fantasy VII Remote? Well, these chapters subtly raises the question in Final Fantasy VII Remake, who really has control over the events unfolding? We still don't know, and we still think that maybe could be the Fate, could be Sephiroth. Other analysis in many chapters of this game, Final Fantasy VII Remake, points the direction to Shinra knowing everything. But isn't that what the Whispers of Fate want? To not change the original timeline, because we already know that we are working with several timelines. That's for sure. And in several timelines, things have changed from the OG game. And maybe it's what the Whispers are trying to do. They are trying to keep all the timelines being the same.
Shinra has confirmed the reactor to be the target of the bomb.
And maybe, that's what is happening. Although, on the OG, they were not prepared. Shinra was not prepared for this attack.
For explosive devices.
Although they knew, because President Shinra does appear, giving that awesome speech. But here it seems that it's all set up now, and everything is set up by Shinra. And you can see in the Shinra news right now, right? So, who really has control over this?
President Shinra has issued
Who really has all these events tied up? As we move through the reactor, the game gives us a sense of control. We know that, we saw that until we reach the bomb, as we can see. And here's the Airbuster. We can remove parts from the Airbuster to weaken it, which we're going to see further on the video. But no matter what you do, the boss fight still happens. Now it's not like you take components that will make the boss fight go away. It's weaker, yes, but this isn't a real choice, it is an illusion. And doesn't that sound a lot like how Final Fantasy VII Remake itself handles fate? Like some kind of illusion, some kind of a different part of the game is, pushing you towards the end that we know that happens on Final Fantasy VII OG. Well, not the end itself, but the end of the Midgar section, which is not a lot, if you think about it. It all happened so quick. From this chapter on, we're gonna see things be really, really quick in this game, and happening really quick. The story unfolds really fast. Well, the Airbuster represents more than just a mechanical enemy. It mirrors how Shinra and even Sephiroth manipulate the illusion of free will. So, once again, we can see that Sephiroth is involved in this as well. We don't know if they are fighting each other for the power of the fate, or only Sephiroth wants to, disturb the line of time, and Shinra wants to, just change the outcome for the company, because Shinra loses here, Sephiroth loses here, so maybe they are, I wouldn't say work together, but towards the same goal. Think about it. Just like Cloud thinks he's in control of his own choices, players think they're weakening the Airbuster, but the outcome, it's already decided. Just like fate right here in the game. The fate that we see by the end of this is they are leaving Midgar. They are, going after Sephiroth. That's the same thing that actually happened on Final Fantasy VII OG, with the difference here. There's a big difference within this game that we will actually see by the end of the game. And other things that in this part of Final Fantasy VII Remake, intermission will introduce other things as well, but we'll get there. Here's where things really get interesting, because by that time, and by the time that all of things happen, and here we are weakening the boss fight, trying to remove pieces from the Airbuster, and to weaken or even make him less powerful on the attacks and so on and so forth, which is a really fun area.
So where did we send the
Really did enjoy this part of this chapter. And we still think we are in control, of course. You know, things get really interesting because after the Airbuster fight, you know, Cloud falls into the slums, just like in the original. Nothing changing there. You know, nothing. And this is very important. Nothing changes there. It happened in the OG. It's gonna happen in this one as well. And we see that the Whispers don't intervene because they know that Cloud will survive the fall. It's very important for the story. And if you go deeper on this, once again, the Whispers want that the timeline remains the same in every timeline. Okay, so the actions that the players do here, the Whispers will always try to make them the same. Okay, and it's very important. It is very important for the Whispers that everything goes accordingly, especially on this fall, which is again different from the OG because we see Cloud in this one firing the grappling gun, which in the OG doesn't exist. But once again, they don't intervene. Imagine that for some reason Cloud had a grasp on the platform and it doesn't fall. So we see that the Whispers do not intervene. Why? Because Cloud was always meant to fall and meet Aerith. And the Whispers don't have to intervene when events happen as they were supposed to do. You know? But what that means is that Shinra's plan and Fate's plan were the same, exactly the same. Was this really just a trap? Or was it something deeper for the meaning of the game? And that brings us to one of the biggest theories of them all. Was this entire sequence not just a Shinra trap, but a manipulation of fate itself? For you guys that are just playing the game now, especially because I'm gonna have that on Nintendo Switch. So congratulations to Nintendo as well.
You don't say.
This is a manipulation. You know, this is the Whispers of Fate
Oh no.
manipulating everything to maintain the timeline, you know, untouched. Simply to continue to have Sephiroth in check. Because if something is different during this timeline, could mean that Sephiroth, by the end, wins, destroys the planet, and that can happen, right? So the Whispers of Fate try so hard to stop anything that is changed from Final Fantasy VII on PlayStation 1. Did you notice how casually Shinra executives watched the destruction unfold? Idgar, for example, here was, President Shiron was not even, worried about it. Because it's like a game to them. But here's the twitch. The twist on this is, doesn't that exactly mirror how Sephiroth plays with Cloud's mind later in the game?
All of us, no exceptions.
Right.
It's
Don't want to disappoint Marlene.
Shinra and Sephiroth
That goes for you too.
both act like they've seen everything before. Like they manipulating events for their own amusement. So is this chapter subtly foreshadowing how Sephiroth will try to twist Cloud's reality? And if so, does that mean Cloud was already being watched and manipulated by Sephiroth even this early in the game? Well, we know that. We discussed that in the first 2 chapters. So, without a doubt, I think that's what Sephiroth is doing, and Shinra might have something. I don't know. There's something around Shinra's way of acting
How do we do this?
It's simple.
during the
Move the levers at the same time.
bomb missions, for example, that it's way different from the first game, right? So I do think they are onto something, and that's one of my biggest theories on the game, is that Shinra
Eyes our movement?
knows. Shinra knows what is happening. They have
Okay.
information or something around those lines. So, what does all of this mean for the bigger picture? Well, here are the 3 biggest takeaways for me from Chapter 7's Eden. Meanings that, well, you might relate or not, or maybe it's just me, overthinking all this. The mission was always meant to fail. Whether by Shinra's planning or Fate's intervention, Avalanche never had a real chance. That's for sure. We know that. This is facts right here.
Same deal.
This mission was never supposed to go right, to go accordingly Shinra's way.
Yeah.
Does this make sense? Yes, it did happen on the OG game. Would definitely happen here. And once again, we see the way that Shinra dealt with it, and the Shinra executives dealt with this mission, or with this, well, with all of this. Actually, Shinra is like ex-soldier, and Shinra was so calm, once a soldier, never lost. They had this idea. They were manipulating stuff. And we're gonna see this
Right.
on the very next chapter. Okay? That Shinra has everything under control. Secondly, the Airbuster fight symbolizes the illusion of choice. Not the fight in itself, but the pre-fight. The way that Shinra and manipulates things, even when you put Airbuster weaker, it doesn't alter the boss fight. It's like it's gonna happen. You're not taking important components. It's gonna happen. Well, it is very meaningful, because once again, this game is all about timeline and timeline control, which Avalanche, Cloud, Tifa, Barrett doesn't have none. Aerith may know something. Shinra definitely, in my opinion, knows something. Shinra Corp knows something. Sephiroth is manipulating everything, no doubt about it, And the extension of it, they're talking about the war with Wutai being the reason to put out Avalanche, for them to decide once again that they need to exterminate Avalanche and to gain control and to do more radical stuff around Midgard. No, this is just an excuse. The second point here, of course, it's Cloud's fall was inevitable. But I think that we already know, right? I think that no, the Whispers don't intervene because this is one event that does need to be corrected. And that's why you don't see Whispers on this mission, on this chapter. You know, it doesn't seem to have any influence, even when you are taking out the parts of Airbuster. You don't see them intervene because that's how it's supposed to go. And that's another thing. Airbusters symbolize the illusion of choice because you're not changing anything, are you? No, the fight still is happening, and Cloud will still fall. And if that's true, then we have to ask, how much of Final Fantasy VII Remake story was actually changed, and how much was always meant to happen this way? That's really an important question, isn't it? Chapter 7 might seem like just another reactor mission, but in reality, it lays the groundwork for the biggest themes of the game: fate, control, and manipulation. Whether it's Shinra, Sephiroth, or the Whispers, someone is always pulling the strings on it. But the real question behind all Final Fantasy VII Remake and all of the chapters is, who is really in control of this timeline? We've seen a different timeline where Sephiroth loses, Shinra loses. And if they have that, information, what do you think they will do? They will try their best to alter it. And the Whispers try their best to not alter anything. Oh, it makes sense, right? And the important part is when we see all of that happening, who is really controlling? Because we never know. For example, the Whispers here didn't do anything to prevent Cloud's fall, because it was supposed to happen like that. But for example, in chapter 4, when you saw Cloud going to the aid of Avalanche with Tifa, you saw that the Whispers needed to intervene because Jessie was not supposed to be able to go on this mission. So Cloud could actually help Avalanche with that. So one of the biggest ones is actually that Shinra knows what happened in other timeline. We don't know how, we don't know if it's by Ojo or even Sephiroth saying something, we don't know that, but Shinra seemed to know more than it should on this time. But of course, let me know in the comments who you think is really behind these events. Was this old Shinra, or was fate itself playing a role? Okay, and well, you know the drill. If you enjoyed this breakdown, you know what to do. You comment your theories, comments on the section below. Help us, reaching out to more people that love Final Fantasy, which is always very, very helpful also for our channel. We are 1 subscriber away to hit 50 subscribes, so that's a small goal, it's always good to have small goals for this channel. It's a channel that we are putting the emphasis on RPGs, no doubt about it, and especially on Final Fantasy series. We'll have other games probably, and tell us if you would love to see gameplay, full gameplay on other RPGs or in other games. Tell us on the section below. Of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. It is the main thing in our in the channel. It helps us to grow the channel. It helps us to be out there, if you know what I mean. And it does help if you are still here watching this video. I appreciate so much, and thank you for always supporting our channels, Simu RPG, Simuverse10, our Twitch channel on twitch.tv/Simuverse10, our recent Kick partnership, and KCIP. We are a partner on Kick now, so it's amazing because of you all. So don't forget to help us on there. Please like and subscribe, and if you really enjoyed this kinds of video,
This ain't the end of the
help us out.
or me.
Give us that thumbs up. I appreciate it. Don't forget to comment. And well, with all this said, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and until the next one, Simuverse RPG is out, soldiers.